Hello, bonjour, je m'appelle Florence. My name is Florence. I'm a French tarot YouTuber and I'm going to do the tag only 10 mass market decks. I don't know who is the creator of this tag, but really I wanted to thank you because this is something I really enjoy doing. So today I'm going to present you my 10 favorite mass market decks. I have already done things like this in the past, but as time goes by, things have evolved a little bit. It was very easy to select 6 or 7 decks, but then for the 3 last decks, it was much more difficult because I changed my mind several times. So the 6 favorites were very easy, but for those left, it was much more difficult to choose. So I'm going to show you my decks. They're not in any particular order. And I'm going to start with this one. This is the Tower of Mystical Moments by Catherine Veldstein. It is the US Games edition. And this is a deck that I really enjoy. And I didn't think I would like it that much. Because I had some issues with this deck at the beginning, especially with the card of the Devil, and one card was slightly damaged at the top, and I had to pay for fees that I did not expect to pay when I received the deck as a present. So yeah, but I really enjoy the vintage feel of the deck. I find that this deck gives me so much inspiration, and I really love the general aesthetic of the deck. This is something I thought I would use only during spring, and eventually I ended up using it throughout the year. So that was a very good surprise, and I have to say that I really like it. It is gentle, and at the same time it can be a bit confrontational. It makes you think out of the box, and it makes you question. It likes to take you out of your comfort zone. So I think that it was very interesting to work with this deck, and generally very pleasing because it's a beautiful deck. And yeah, I really like this type of artwork. It's very well done. I'm not a fan of collage decks, but I really like what she has done on this tarot deck. So that was the Tarot of Mystical Moments. The next one I'm going to show is a Lo Scarabeo deck. And this is the Happy Tarot by Serena Fica. And this is a very inexpensive deck, but I really love it because it is so much fun. It is so cute. I love the purple backing of the deck. And this is a deck that I have had for several years now, and I keep using it every summer. And as soon as winter is over and we start having beautiful days, I want to take this deck out to play with it. It is gentle, it is colorful, and at the same time, it doesn't shy away when it has to tell you things that you're not going to like. So it is well balanced despite the sugary aspect of the deck. Yeah. And I know that currently the Destiny decks, tarot decks, are very popular right now, but I don't feel the need to reach for them because I have this one, and this one completely fills my need for a cute and funny deck with an inner child energy. So yeah, that's a very fun deck. I love the little border at the bottom. It's very cute. And this is a deck I use every summer, so I use it quite regularly because I have quite an extensive collection now, and when I keep using a deck every year on a regular basis, it means that it has secured its position in my collection, and that it is a deck that I really enjoy. The next one is a deck that I really love. It was also a no-brainer for this one. That's the Modern Witch Tarot by Lisa Sturl. This is the Liminal 11 edition. There is also a French edition for this deck, but I had already purchased the American version more than a year before the French edition came out, and I didn't feel the need to reach for the French edition because I really love the production quality of this one. I know most Americans found this deck was too stiff and that the cards were too thick, but I really enjoy a thick cardstock like this one. It is a bit glossy, but it is not sticky, so the production value was really great on this deck. It is not damaged at all, and I have used it quite a lot, so they really hold up well, and this is something I really like about this deck. I also love the color palette, which is very modern. I like this brick red, this mustard yellow. I like the pinks in the cup suit. I like the dark nails on the aces. This character of the Fool makes me think of Sabrina, like in the Netflix series. Yeah, I find it really cool, and I love the 10 of Swords card with the mobile in her hand, and the inscription, everything is fine. Yeah, that's this card. That really speaks to me. So yeah, I like it. It's modern. It's a bit diverse as well. I like this card also. I keep it in the deck all the time. And I love the backing of this deck. It's really beautiful. I love the color. I love the eye. I like having the symbols over there. Yeah, it's a very, very cool deck. And I have it now for quite a long time. I bought it as soon as it came out, and I keep using it on a regular basis, so that's a good performance. Another classical deck in my collection now is the Light Seer Tarot. This was a huge success indeed, and I'm not going to say that it does not deserve its success. It is beautiful. I love the artwork. I love the colors. I think the guidebook was very clever and very interesting. It speaks so well to so many people, and my friends really enjoy when I use this deck for their readings. So this deck pleases everyone, I think, and it really deserves its success. I was tempted to buy the Unfolding Path Tarot, which is a bit in the same vibe, but after watching a side-by-side flip through of the decks, I really decided that I preferred this one over the Unfolding Path Tarot. So eventually I didn't buy the other one, and I think this one is my favorite modern deck, and I'm not sure I need so many modern decks in my collection. So yeah, I really enjoy this one. It's a good working deck. It gives very good clear readings. Well, everybody likes it, I think. Most people do, at least. The next one is my favorite mass market deck. And it is gorgeous. It's the Fyodor Pavlov Tarot. This is a new release from US Games. And it is pricey. It is really pricey for a mass market deck. It is nearly as expensive as an indie deck. But the production quality is good, so that's one thing. And I have been waiting for this tarot for so long that I'm really happy. I discovered the first illustrations a few years ago on Pinterest, and as soon as I saw them, I followed the link to find out about Fyodor Pavlov and to know if the tarot was finished and available, and of course it was not. And now I'm just super grateful to have this deck in my hands. It's beautiful. The illustrations are everything I like. And the guidebook is interesting. It's well written. So now I don't necessarily read the guidebooks when I buy tarot decks. But I enjoyed the pictures so much that I wanted to read the guidebook for this one. So that's also something. I don't know if the edges will be fine because there are some lines here. I mean, there is some gilding, but it's not very neat. But the cardstock is very pleasant. It's a sort of linen finish. It's almost a bit plasticky, but it's not sticky. So it's very pleasant to touch. It is flexible. It seems to be sturdy. The backing is nice, but I'm a bit disappointed by the copyright here because it's a bit too intrusive, I think. They have done better on other decks, and they could have done something better with this one, I think. But yeah, I love these illustrations so much. It's a beautiful artwork. I like the small pops of color here and there. It is diverse, it is original, but at the same time you can... I mean, it's a queer deck, but you can read with it whatever you think about sexuality. This one may be a bit surprising for people, but I mean, it's okay. But I love the general feel of the deck. I don't know what this is, but I love it. I just love it. I love the Russian, Eastern European influence in costumes of the characters. I find it beautiful. And that's it. I love the blues like this. And illustrations like these are stunning. So yeah, this one is a deck that I really love. And it is my favorite mass market deck. We continue. The next one is a deck that I have called my soul deck a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago or so. Yeah, 2 years ago. I don't know if I can still consider this deck as my soul deck because I don't use it that much right now. But it has been so useful to keep me going on, to help me achieve what I wanted, to be okay in times when it was a bit difficult. So this is a great healing tool. This is a great reading deck. It helped me understand better some of the cards, and the little poems in the guidebook are wonderful. They touched me so much, and they mean so much when I read them. This is a Schiffer publishing deck, and the only thing I have to complain about it is the production quality. It's not the standards we have now, and it hasn't been updated. It is a deck that was published a few years ago now, and this is a very glossy and sticky cardstock. The production quality was not great, but it is very interesting. I really love the titles that are given to the minors. I find that very interesting, and the pictures are really powerful. The colors are powerful, and I was really surprised to fall in love with this deck, because for years I didn't like it at all. I could not look at the faces of the characters with the blank eyes, etc. That was very disturbing, and they used to make me very uneasy. But when I've started working with this deck, I have had such powerful readings that it has become a soul deck. And I'm not sure if I still need this deck to be my soul deck, but it is an important deck in my collection, for sure. And I think this is a very good deck to support you in times of troubles, or if you are in a creative process. So it is a really great tool, very profound. We continue with another deck that was in my list from the beginning because it is really beautiful. It's the Tarot of Golden Wheel by Mila Losenko. This is a Los Scarabeo deck. And I don't know why this deck is so underrated and why we don't see this deck more often, because it is beautiful. The artwork is stunning, and this deck deserves to be seen more often. The watercolors are beautiful in this deck, and the costumes and the people are beautiful. There's something really pleasing in this deck, and this is a deck I like using. It is quite traditional, so it reads really well. Look at this card. It's beautiful. So that's the Tarot of Golden Wheel, of the Golden Wheel. And if this is the first time you see this deck, I hope you enjoyed seeing it, because, well, I don't understand why nobody talks about it. It comes in a nice box as well. We we have 3 decks left. So this one was for sure in my favorites. That's the Everyday Witch Tarot. That's the Llewellyn edition. There's another edition in French, but I already had this one. And even if I think the French version has a better cardstock, I prefer this one for the backing. The backing is really nicer. I think on this one, it's cute. And it's not a problem for me to have a guidebook written in English, so there wasn't any real need for the French version for me. But that was a great tool for learning. It was important in my learning process of tarot because the scenes are quite relatable. It's very easy to understand what happens. And the guidebook is really well written. It helps you remember what is the energy of each card in the tarot. And that helped me giving a reading without reaching for the guidebook all the time. Once I had read it, it was okay. I understood all the cards. So that is a great tarot if you are a beginner. And if you're not, that's a great tarot as well because it's so much fun. With all the little kitties. So yeah, it's a very pleasant deck. You can use it throughout the year because there is the witch theme that is okay for October, November, etc. But at the same time, the colors are quite bright, and as a consequence, you can use it throughout the year, and there's no problem. You can use it during summer. That's perfect as well. Look at this beautiful 2 of Cups. So that's an important deck because it helped me understand tarot better, read more easily the cards. That was a good learning tool. Okay, the 2 last ones were not in my initial video, but I decided to record it again to change my mind. So, before I had chosen the Deviant Moon Tarot Borderless Edition by Patrick Valenza and the Mystical Cats Tarot, or the Tarot of Mystical Cats. I don't know what the title is in English. But I decided to change my mind, and I eventually chose the Tarot of Illumination by Matt Hughes, because I realized that it was a deck that I've reached for more often than the 2 other decks I mentioned, especially in this time of year. This is a deck I like using at the end of winter and when days are becoming brighter, lighter. This is something I like reaching for until the spring season, and this is a deck that I like using every year at the same season. So that's a bit like the Happy Tarot in a way, because I've had it for a few years now and I like using it on a regular basis at the same time of year. So I decided I would eventually go for this deck instead. I love the cardstock of this one. It's a bit plasticky and flexible, but it's very pleasant. It's not sticky. And the gold on the card is very pleasing. And I love the Art Nouveau kind of imagery, even though I don't like this 7 of Cups card. I don't like the dragon. And here I see it more in the fantasy illusion aspect of Seven of Cups. But usually when it comes up for me, it's more about having to choose and not really knowing what you want to choose. So this is not the way I usually read the Seven of Cups. So this card is not my favorite. This is my least favorite card of the deck. But all the others are quite nice. I like these pastel colors. They are really nice. It's crisp and clean. I like it for this season, you know. I know there's a new version of it, but I think I like it better with the gold foil than the holographic foil. I think it works better like this, but the other one is beautiful too. But I have this one, so I don't really see the need of having the other one. I try to be reasonable and not to purchase every single deck, you know. Look at that, this is beautiful. So that's the Illumination Tarot. Oh, this is the most beautiful tarot card I have ever seen, I think. This moon card is gorgeous. This one also is beautiful. Look at that. That is stunning. And it is mass market. Imagine that quality on a mass market deck. This is fantastic. They have done a great job with this one. Thank you, US Games. This is a beautiful production quality, and I love the colors inside the box and of the box, etc. Beautiful colors on this deck. We finish with the last but not least. This is the tarot of Tarot des Druides. So in French, I can't remember the. In English, I can't remember the title. Is it the druidcraft tarot? But I don't know. I can't remember. But so many people have presented it. I think that's very famous. I like this one because I like the illustrations. They're beautiful. I don't particularly like the backing though. It's a bit too plain, too simple. And I think the cards are a bit too big, but I don't want to cut them and, you know, to cut the edges, etc. Because then it would remove the little symbols in the corners, and that's the only pretty thing on the back. So no, I don't want to remove that. And I don't know where I would stop cutting. Would I stop here or there? I don't know. And my corner rounder doesn't really work well, so I don't want to ruin the deck. So I'm going to leave it this way, but it's a bit too big for my hands because I have small hands. But it is a very powerful deck. It gives really clear readings. I like the energy. It's neither too feminine, neither too masculine. This card is beautiful. The colors are interesting. The artwork is very easy to recognize. You really recognize Will Worthington's artwork on his decks. And the guidebook is really interesting. It's a great deck for learning as well. And I like it. Yeah. So I really hesitated between this one and the Deviant Moon. But I think I would use this one more often than the Deviant Moon. The Deviant Moon is very interesting. It is very singular. And there's a lot of resiliency in the Deviant Moon. But I guess now I would turn to this deck more often than the Deviant Moon. So that's why I chose this one. Initially, I wanted to talk about the Mystical Cats Tarot, but this is a deck I really use occasionally and on a very specific purpose. I use it for animal communication with my cat, or when she disappears for a couple of days. This is a deck I would use to be reassured and to know what is going on. But this is not a deck I use so much for myself. So that's why I changed my mind and I took this one instead. The Tarot of Illumination. Because I thought it would be more relevant to choose decks I use the most rather than decks that are important and different. I don't know. I don't know really how to explain why I changed my mind, but I thought that it would be more relevant for me to talk about these. So that was my selection, 10 decks, 10 mass market decks. So this one is Vega edition in French. I don't know what's the edition in English. There's a lot of US games, a bit of Los Carabio, Liminal 11, and Llewellyn, so, and Schiffer. So yeah, there's quite a mix of different editors, but I hope you liked it. Have a good time. Bye!